Hello, can you guys hear me? This is Gigi. How are you guys doing? This was Success with Gigi, my YouTube channel that I come to talk to you guys every now and then. I don't post consistently. I only post when I feel like talking, and I'm talking loud because I'm sitting near a street that has busy traffic. So I hope you guys can hear me. Um, the topic of this video, from my last video, you guys know that I am going to be living the van life, not the sexy way, not where I'm traveling a lot like you hear other people, but I'm in that category where I'm being forced into living the van life. And so the title of this video is Living the Van Life. How did I get here? I'm going to tell you how I got here. And where am I going from here? And I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm at work right now. Usually I don't do, and I'm on my lunch break, so usually I don't do a video, while I'm at work, in my work location. But I'm outside having lunch. So, as you guys know, or don't know, or may not know, is I have an estranged relationship with the woman that's in my son's life, and she is the mother of my grandkids. And how I got forced into living a van life, um, because I'm going to be homeless. And I know I refuse to live under the terms, and I'm living in her place, a place that she legally, she's been subletting. She's on Section 8. She's been subletting it. And I've been there for 4 years, right? So she's been subletting it to me for 4 years. But now she's gotten to the point where she's dangling that under my nose because I'm in Northern California. The rent in Northern California is sky high. If you think where you live rent is high, it is sky high in California, all over California. So I thought I got a good deal when I got to use her Section 8 while she and my son, they bought a place in Atlanta. Instead of giving up their Section 8, they let me live there. I know that was wrong and I shouldn't have done it. But the things that you do in desperate situations, right? So, it's so funny. You just see red flags here and there. And because you're so, as I mentioned that word, desperate, you're like, okay, maybe I could put up with this. Maybe I could take a little of that, right? I did not know how controlling this woman in my son's life, the mother of my grandkids. I used to call her my daughter-in-law, but not anymore. She's not my daughter-in-law. Okay. And so, but I'm gonna tell you the story. I'm gonna try to keep it as brief as possible. So I'm still living there, um, and it's just gotten to the point where you know how this is just the last straw. You just can't take somebody's mess anymore. Well, she's been traveling back and forth. She travels back and forth from Atlanta to California to where I live at now. And she did not give up the keys, so she come and go as she pleased. But the caveat is that she let anybody spend the night there, and I don't have a say so. And if I do say something, she says, "Well, you know how high rent is here. You getting a good deal here, only paying this small amount of rent, right?" And I'm a senior citizen, and I'm like, okay, I put my name on the list. I know you guys are out there saying, well, gee, why don't you put your name on the um, affordable housing list for seniors? Everybody and their mama is on that list, and that list is long. And I'll be By the time they call my name, I'll be on my way to heaven. I'll be 190. Okay. So, so I'm thinking of different ways. And so I was like, okay, let me get a van and just live in my van. That's how I got there. And so I'm applying, for loans. I wanted to buy a cash out, but the prices were so high and getting a van. And there were several places where I could not get a loan to purchase a van. But I'm telling you how wonderful God is because, I'll tell you when I get through the story what happened. So, um, so the straw that broke the camel's back was when my her older son, who is my son's stepson, he's like in his late 20s, him and his girlfriend and their baby came to live where I reside at, right? Because they wanted to move to Atlanta so that my grandson, my step grandson, girlfriend could go to nursing school there because she got accepted in a nursing school in Atlanta. So instead of paying all this rent where they were living, it was agreed upon that they live with me for a few months until the school started for her. So that was, rough because they weren't the cleanest people. They were loud and disrespectful, to say the least. But here in my mentality, so I'm like in this. When you have a, let me just say this: when you have a mentality to just settle, that will make you sick mentally and physically. So I'm starting to feel stress in my shoulders because I settled to pay less, but you know what? I paid a bigger price. I was paying a bigger price because I was giving away my peace and my joy to live in a place so that I could pay less rent, right? And this woman who's with my son, she became each and every year became more and more and more controlling. So, getting back to the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Well, finally they move out, but my step grandson, he was gone only 2 weeks before he came back to California. So when they left, what I started to do was clean up around the house, around the apartment because they were a mess, right? So I'm going from room to room to room, cleaning up. And in the room that they slept in, I found two large bags of weed. Two large bags of weed, and come to find out that he was selling weed outside the apartment that I we gave the okay for him to stay in. Very disrespectful. That is a disrespect right there, and no consideration at all for his elder, right? So before he came back, he asked me to give a backpack to a friend, right? But I said, you mean the backpack that got the weed in it? And I told him I don't feel comfortable with that. And then he's going to turn the switch on me saying, you need to stop snooping in my stuff. And I'm like, you need to stop being disrespectful and putting my life in jeopardy for having that mess here in this house, in this apartment, right? So he's going to go on a yelling tantrum. I just hung up the phone. So then that's when 2 weeks later he came back to California. Now, mind you, he still has a key to the place. Still has a key to the place. He came in, and I already got my mind that I'm out of here. I am leaving. They could have this crappy place, this crappy apartment. I am leaving. But before I left, he wanted me to have a conference call with him and his mom. And she was yelling. So both of them, they had venom, yelling at me, saying I was in the wrong because, and she's not taking in consideration what her son is doing. So she's siding with him and his wrongdoing, his criminal activity, saying that I was in the wrong for snooping, right? I'm like, okay, this is over. End the conversation. I'm not going to have a yelling match with either one of you. End the conversation. I'm out. So I didn't tell him I'm out because I wanted to be a surprise. When she's looking for that rent, I'm going. And F, they say, oh, you got to give 30-day notice. I'm not giving I ain't giving 30-minute notice. I'm so pissed off and mad, and throughout this time, I'm mad at me too for putting up with their crap, right? So, needless to say, that conversation, that was a couple of days ago, the conversation was over, and I was blessed with a van. So finally, I was accepted for financing to get this van, a 2014 Ford Transit cargo van, which I will be doing what they call where you what is it called? Where you fix it up, but you don't do any of the labor. You just put like a cot in there, a bed in there. You use bungee cords. You put like little, storage in little storage bins in there. So, a non-build. It's called a non-build build. A non-build build, meaning that you're not putting down the floor, you're not putting in a sink, you're not putting in solar panels or anything like that. So you're just doing a non-build build. If you don't know what it is, Google it. Non-build build vans, right? So I'm in the process of doing that. So I got the van, and it's really small. It's smaller than I wanted it to be because I can't really stand up. If I stand up, I have to like bend over to stand up. So I'll be like sleeping in it. The fear is I've never maneuvered my life this way of being homeless. And I'm like, how? Because now I'm homeless. I'm not on that side of van life where people, they go in van life and they're traveling and they're having a good time, right? So what I did is, without letting them know, I got a storage bin, a storage unit. I am getting a new address, a UPS address, so that when I order from Amazon, they're able to deliver that, which is only $30 a month. And so I already got like the bed to go in the van, which fits in good. And those cargo vans, how sometimes like between the driver and the back of the van, there's like this cage-like thing. I had that removed. Oh my God. When I had that removed, it gave me so much room in that van. When you don't have any space, when you have very little space, you just that much space is a big deal, right? So granted, I have not slept in the van yet. People that have done this before, they said before you take on this venture, sleep in your van and get accustomed to it a little bit, right? I have not done that yet. But the thing is that I'm being forced into it. And so I'm thinking like, because being a Christian, I talk to God. I'm like, Lord, how can I make extra income, increase my income with this cargo van? And I'm thinking doing like become a carrier driver, maybe medical carrier, things of that nature, to make extra money and things of that. So even though this is a scary venture for me, I'm asking the Lord to open up my eyes and let this be a learning experience. What I learn about myself, how can I become a better person and go from here to something even better? Because I know God don't want me to stay here. I know He don't. A child of God, He wants something better for me, changing and being a better person. And also, like, I have an entrepreneur spirit. I have, like, I want to start an Airbnb, arbitrage Airbnb, but I do need the money. So I'm thinking, while I'm living in this van, and I said this in my previous video, while I'm living in this van, sorry, you guys, those cars are loud. So if you can get through this video with those loud noises, thank you. So if living in the van, I was thinking about, okay, if I live in it a year, I could save some money. And every now and then I'm going to treat myself and maybe stay in hotels or an Airbnb myself. But my goal is to start maybe a midterm business, like midterm Airbnb or short-term Airbnb. But I'm really leaning toward midterm Airbnb. I also started a business with a couple of people selling mobile homes. I think I shared that with you guys too. But one thing about entrepreneur, so I'm like, okay, let me back up. So what I'm doing now that I'm forced into living the van life or living in my van, I'm going to have to mix gig work, driving gig works because it pays quicker, but it is more labor intensive. So I found this guy, this Mexican guy. I'm gonna hire him, like when I go drive and do labor, carrier work, medical carrier work, or whatever carrier work. There's Amazon Flex. There's, all these different driving apps that you could use to make a little money on the side. I could have him ride along with me and do the heavy lifting, right? I drive, he does the heavy lifting, right? And I give him a percentage of what's made. Now, that money you get paid, like they pay you every week, I think. So that's faster than like me being an entrepreneur, drumming up customers, and then waiting. Because as an entrepreneur, making money, that's a long process. So you definitely have to stay in the game and be patient because you got to build like these relationships that takes time. So I'm mixing it up. Gig work, I work a full-time job. I do work a full-time job, but the gig work would be like during the weekends or whenever I have time off of work, and then just stacking the money, saving the money. And so I did make a list of all my expenses. And so, sorry about that, guy. So, um, sorry about that. So I see where I'll be saving a little bit more living in my van than I do renting. Even though that rent is cheaper, I'll still be saving a little bit more living in my van than even living at my son's woman's place. I'm not gonna say daughter-in-law because she ain't in my I don't even, I don't like her. Lord Jesus. Sorry, I'm being negative, but I'm sorry. Okay, so all that, and I'm always open and thinking of different ways. I'm gonna show you the van that I wanted to get, this one right here. I wanted that one because it's a high top. Mine is not. I got a low top. I'm like, okay, Lord. And it's so interesting. One of the downside is finding places to sleep when you're living a nomad life. I don't know if I'm really a nomad life because I still work a job. Am I? But living a nomad life, where do I park? And the funny thing is, there are Facebook groups that you could join of people that are living sort of kind of like what you're doing, and they give you ideas, and stuff like that, which is good. I like that. So I'm getting ideas. I'm learning different ways, and you really don't get it until you really, no matter how much information you get, no matter how much research you do, you don't get it until you are in it. Does that make sense? You don't get it until you are in it. So once I start doing it, we'll see. I know there are going to be some ups and downs. The sad part is that I'm not going to be talking to her ever again. And there's some things that I did like about her because, she's a good mom to my grandkids. But I don't ever want to talk to her or see her ever again. I don't want to ever talk to her son, the oldest one, my step grandson, ever again because of the disrespect that he gave me ever again. So today I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to get a few things. I'm going to get those LED lights that run by battery and put them in the back of the van. I like a lot of light. I'm going to get those fairy lights, those cute little fairy lights, and decorate it. So I'm going to decorate it, make it as nice as possible and as comfortable as possible. Um, but I'll just keep you guys abreast because this is new to me. I never had to live like this. And the interesting thing is that I hear that a lot of people, especially seniors, are having to either sleep in their car or live in a van. I did share that in a previous video, but so I'm just taking it one day at a time. When I have like beautiful days like this is a sunny, beautiful day, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. I'm just learning to come from a place of gratitude and things of that nature and eliminating people that don't see my value out of my life. I don't care if we're family, friends, or foe. If you don't respect me and see my value, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.com. And I'm out. I'm not going to hate on you. I'm not going to have bad feelings. Well, maybe a little bad feelings. But this is like a wrap.com is over. I don't want to have nothing to do with you because I have to heal. There's so much healing that I have to do because I could say all day long that I'm worthy, that I'm great, I'm a wonderful person. You know what I'm saying? I could say all these positive affirmations, but at the end of the day, how I treat myself, that's where it's going to show. If I really believe those positive affirmations that I read and say to myself, you know, I found myself settling. Why am I putting up with this woman who loved being controlling? And the first thing is she wanted me out of there anyway, so her family could move in there. But you know what? God don't like ugly, and I really believe it's gonna come to light that she's subletting her Section 8, and they're gonna end that Section 8, and her son's gonna get caught selling those drugs in that apartment building. Thank God I'm getting out of there because if the police were to come in there while I'm there, they're not gonna if I tell them I didn't do it, they're not gonna believe it. They're gonna think I'm an accomplice. So that's why I'm like I'm getting out of there. It's so quick, it's like it'll make your head spin. So on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. I know my lunch is over. I gotta go back to work, you guys, but I just had to share that, vent a little bit. Like I said, this YouTube, talking on these YouTube videos is like therapy for me. I was telling a Facebook person who's in the same group as I am in a van life Facebook group. I told her I have a YouTube channel. And she goes, "Oh, I want to check out your channel." I said, "Girl, I use my YouTube channel to talk about my family and vent about my life." I said I use it as a therapy because I cannot afford a therapist. Because it feels good. I don't know about you, but it feels good to talk out stuff for me. It just releases some of the anxiety, the tension, and then I have to laugh. And I love laughter. They said laughing is good medicine. And so I know God has his hand in this. I know God is going to show the enemies that come against me. God said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against," I'm making it personal, "no weapon formed against Gigi shall prosper." And I know God is going to show my enemy. He said, "I'll fight your battles for you. You don't have to fight against anybody." And I'm trusting God, and I know that God, sorry about that truck, that noise going by. But I am trusting God that He is going to open up a door that no man can close, and that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I love these promises of God. I'm gonna always talk about how wonderful Jesus Christ is in my life, and if nobody don't like it, guess what? You can turn the channel. Okay. But I love you guys. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you think about van life. Are you is something that you would do for fun, or are you forced into living in a car or a van? And how's it going for you? But I hope that either way, God is blessing you and that things get better for you each and every day. Thank you for listening, and do come back. When will I be back? I don't know. Just keep checking in. Okay. Bye, you guys. Have a good one.